Okay, so let us continue our discussion about the process in splitting the inclined force into its x and then y component. Now, as we have said from the previous video, we have two approaches in computing the components of an inclined force. So the first is if the given direction is in terms of angular direction. So yun yung cosine sine. And then yung pangalawang approach is if the direction given is in terms of slope, rise over run. Okay. So what we need to do here is just use ratio and proportion. So when we say ratio in proportion, similar triangle. So um, in order for us to get the x and then the y component, so as we applied from the previous approach, use offset method. So dito ang gawin ko in terms of force na muna, create tayo ng triangle sa pamamagitan ng components ng force. So definitely by offsetting the y component and then transferring it on the right side of the figure, so we will be having this and then eliminate na natin ito. Now remember that we will not compromise the magnitude of Fy once we use offset method. So this is the resulting triangle if we focused on the forces, no? And then the next is what if we focused on the components of the slope, the x and then y. So definitely we can also create a right triangle. So if we want to compute the hypotenuse side of the slope, kasi definitely the x component of the slope is x whereas the y component is y. So to compute the hypotenuse side, so definitely the most recommended approach is to use Pythagorean theorem. B square is equal to x square plus y square. So the reason why we created two triangles, the first is in terms of force and then the other one is in terms of slope. So for us to definitely apply a similar triangle or also referred to as ratio in proportion. Okay, so therefore if we want to compute the y component by applying ratio in proportion, ang ibig sabihin nito, so palaging involved palagi yung inclined side ng triangle. Okay, so yung inclined side ganito, yung inclined side ng mas malaki kasi we have bigger, we have smaller. Okay, so the inclined side of the bigger triangle over the inclined side of the smaller triangle is also equivalent to the vertical side, okay, of the bigger triangle over the vertical side of the smaller. Okay, so therefore, by applying cross multiplication, we will be having this. Now, this is going to be the formula that we will be using definitely in computing the y component of the inclined force. Now, kapag x component naman, so definitely dapat involved naman yung x component ng triangle. Okay, or yung horizontal side nung triangle. Okay, so again, by applying ratio and proportion, so palaging involve ulit yung inclined side. So, ganun pa rin, the inclined side of the bigger triangle over the inclined side of the smaller is also equivalent to this time the horizontal side of the bigger over the horizontal side of the smaller. And then by applying cross multiplication, so this is definitely the resulting equation for us to be able to compute the x component of the inclined force. Okay, so these are the formulas, the ready formulas. Okay, if the directions given for an inclined force is in terms of slope. And then kapag in terms of angular distance naman, in terms of trigonometric functions, sine, cosine, pero pwede rin kayong gumamit ng tangent function, pwede rin kayong gumamit ng cosecant and then ng secant as long as you are still familiar to SOHCAHTOA. Okay, so now, from components to resultant or inclined force. So this time, paano naman kapag ang binigay ay components tapos we want to compute the total. So meaning to say when we say total, the resultant. Okay. So when we say resultant, so the net effect of this is also equivalent to the net effect of the combined Fy and then Fx. So definitely para makuha natin to, so the strategic approach is to use Pythagorean theorem. So f square is equal to fx square plus fy square. Okay. Now, let us proceed to our next topic, which is this. So this is the title of the topic. Okay, explaining the process in computing the resultant force. No, if we have already encountered multiple forces, ibig sabihin more than one na. Okay, so that is titled resultant of coplanar non-concurrent force system. So basically speaking, the resultant under this context is not equal to zero. Okay, still not equal to zero. Now, definitely the problem that you will encounter, okay, once you started computing the resultant, okay, of an inclined force is if it is more than one. If you have already encountered more than one inclined forces, so definitely magiging mas mahirap yung proseso sa pagkuha ng resultant. Okay, so the advised concept or principle that you need to apply once you encountered such case is to use this forces physical independence principle. Okay? So, when we say forces physical independence principle, okay, so basically once you encountered multiple forces, tapos some of these forces are inclined, so instead of focusing on their actual effects inflicted on the body, so what we actually need to do is to focus na lang no sa resultant nilang lahat. Okay, so instead of focusing on each inclined force, ang gagawin na lang natin, kunin na lang natin yung resultant nilang lahat. Okay, tapos doon na lang tayo magfo-focus. Kasi this time, isang force na lang yung pagfo-focusan natin. And that force represents the net effect of the multiple actual forces that are involved. Okay, now going back to the concept of forces physical independence principle, basically ganun yung gagawin natin. Now, just to highlight now what resultant is and its difference no to the actual forces. So halimbawa, meron tayong case dito, tug of war. So definitely ito yung boundary line. Okay, so let us say there are two person pulling the rope on the right side, on this side. So those forces will be represented by F3 and then F4. And then we have also two person no that are pulling the rope on the left side. So the pull inflicted or inflicting by the two person will be represented by F1 and then F2. Okay, so definitely if the total values of F1 and then F2 is also equal to the total values of F3 and then F4, the rope will be stationary. When we say stationary, hindi siya gagalaw. Okay? It will remain at rest. Okay? So, hindi siya gagalaw in short. But once nagkaroon ng discrepancy, so let's assume that the value of the summation of F1 and then F2 is already found greater than the summation of F3 and then F4. So what do you think will be the what would be the outcome, or what would be the potential movement of the rope? So it will definitely move in the leftward direction. Okay, so since we already know the direction of the movement because of the fact that the forces on the left side is greater than the forces on the right side. So instead of focusing on the actual forces, so pwede na lang tayong mag-assign ng single force na magre-represent ng effect ng apat na forces. So ang tawag natin doon ay resultant force. And to determine the value of the resultant force, in this case, since we have only horizontal forces, so kunin lang natin yung vector summation. Now when we say vector summation, hindi lang siya simpleng summation. When we say vector kasi we have to also consider the sign. So for horizontal forces, if the direction is leftward, the sign should be negative. And then if the direction is rightward, the sign must be positive. So by getting the summation of the forces involved, F1, F2, negative kasi leftward sila. Tapos F3, F4, positive kasi rightward sila. This will be the formula in computing the resultant. Okay. So this is the concept of resultant. It is simply a single force that will represent the effect, okay, of the net effect of the actual forces applied in the body. Okay. Now, to furtherly understand the resultant, kasi problem arises once you have already encountered inclined forces. So what I suggest to you is to apply these helpful techniques or methods na every time you are analyzing. Okay, now, imagine that we have a body that is placed on an inclined surface. Inclined surface siya. And then let us say that the object is subjected to four distinct forces. So F1, which is acting northeast, F2 that is acting southeast, F3 that is purely vertically downward, and then Fn which is acting northwest. Okay, now the first technique that I can suggest is what we so-called force polygon, or also referred to as tip to tail. Now, the reason why this is called force polygon kasi what we actually need to do is to connect all the individual forces by a tip of a certain force to the tail of the next force, no? And then the ultimate purpose is to create a polygon. Okay, so for example, F1, focus tayo sa F1, ito yung tip niya. And then let us say na ano tayo, ang tawag doon, ascending. So from starting from 1 tapos pataas. So from F1, ito yung tip niya. So next to that is to connect it to the tail of F2. And then since this is the tip of F2, so what we need is to connect this to the tail of F3. And then since this is the tip of F3, so what we need to do is to connect it to the tail of Fn. So if you notice what we created, the resulting polygon now that we created is a quadrilateral because of the fact that it is consisted of 4 sides. Okay, so this is the first useful technique every time we are analyzing and computing the resultant force. The next technique or the next method is what we called point diagram method, or also referred to as graphical method. So simple lang naman ang concept nito Gagamit lang tayo ng Cartesian plane, but you have to also conform to the rule of Cartesian plane. When I said that, what I mean is that if the force is acting, for example, F1 is acting northeast, so it's as if it is upward and then rightward. Okay, so what we actually need to do is to analyze the components, the direction of the components of a certain inclined force. Tapos, ilagay ito doon sa quadrant na katugma ng direction niya. So definitely, this must be placed on the first quadrant. Okay, kasi yung vertical component niya is vertical positive, and then the horizontal component is horizontal positive. Next is F2. So place it definitely on the fourth quadrant. And then F3, so that is parallel to the negative y-axis. And then Fn is placed on the third on the second quadrant rather. Okay, and then once we already transfer the forces that are applied on the object to the Cartesian plane, so that's the starting point, or this is going to be the benchmark of our analysis. So once we use this, or once you use this method, you are actually using this, which is the point diagram method. Lastly is called rotating method. So this is just an innovated version of point diagram method. Usually na-appreciate natin ang rotating method kapag inclined na yung inclined surface. Okay, kapag naka-incline siya. So halimbawa, what the reason why this is called rotating method kasi yung standard orientation ng Cartesian plane natin, remember that the standard orientation of Cartesian plane is always horizontal for the x-axis and then vertical for the y-axis. But once you use rotating method, what we are actually doing is rotating the axis, no? We are rotating it to whatever orientation you prefer. Okay, but strategically, what we actually do every time we are using rotating method is to make one of the axes collinear to one of the forces involved. So for example, yung F1 kasi based on the original figure, it is parallel to the inclined surface. So if we want the inclined surface to become one of our reference axis, so ang gagawin lang natin, pwede nating i-rotate yung x-axis natin to make it become collinear to the line of action of F1. Okay, magiging ganito. Yun nga lang kasi since na-rotate ang ating x-axis, let's call the rotated x-axis as x prime. So ibig sabihin an indication that it is adjusted. So part of that is we also need to rotate its corresponding y-axis kasi according to the rule of Cartesian plane, the angle between the x and then the y-axis must be 90 degrees. Okay, so these are the three useful and helpful techniques every time we are analyzing the we are analyzing how we can compute the resultant, particularly kapag more than one force na and then some of these forces are inclined. Now, going back to the process in computing the resultant, okay, paano kapag, kasi kanina tinanong ko, paano kapag madali lang kasi ang proseso ng pagkuha ng resultant kapag iisa lang. Okay, iisa lang. So, balikan ko yung previous slide. Kapag isa lang yung force, ang gagawin mo lang, titingnan mo lang kung ano yung orientation ng distance na binigay. Kapag in terms of angular distance, so the next thing to check is from what axis the angle is measured. Ibig sabihin, if it is measured from the x-axis, so these are the formulas that you can use to compute the x and then the y component. If the angle is measured from the y-axis, so these are the formulas that you can use to compute the components. Now, kapag ang direction naman na binigay ay in terms of slope, so ito yung mga formulas na gagamitin natin. But you need to understand that I don't recommend you to just memorize these formulas. What you actually need to do is to understand the concept or to understand the principle how we derive these formulas kasi that's the most effective way in studying the subject. And then once we have already computed the components, so makukuha natin yung resultant just in case hindi ito given. Okay, so meron tayong x, meron tayong y, so definitely makukuha natin yung resultant niya sa pamamagitan ng paggamit nito. Yun nga lang kapag ito ay isa lang. Okay, now paano kapag multiple na? When we say multiple, more than one na ang involved. So let's say we have an object, tapos it is subjected to three forces. So only one force is horizontal. Okay, tapos the next two or the other two forces are inclined na. Okay, so this is the best approach, okay, in computing the resultant. So again, when we say resultant, so the effects of or the net effect of the actual forces which are F2, F3 and then F2, F3, okay, inflicted on the object is also equal to the net effect of the single force, no, that will represent the tree. Okay, mas madali kasi palagi ang analysis kapag isang force lang ang involved. Now, remember that we have three useful techniques ulit, no? So we have the force polygon, the point diagram method, and then we have the rotating. Now, let us use this. Let us try to use force polygon method, and then let us analyze, no, the process in computing the resultant of the tree by simply using force polygon. So definitely ganun pa rin, ascending order pa rin tayo from F1 to F2 to F3. So we will be having this kind of orientation. Now kanina, sinabi natin that by applying force polygon method to this diagram, we will create a closed polygon. Magsasara siya. Okay, magsasara. But another important thing that you need to also understand is that if the resultant is not equal to 0, it will not anymore close. Okay, it will not anymore close. Okay, so magko-close lang ang isang polygon once you encountered a 0 resultant force. So for example, ito dahil nga nag-close yung polygon natin, ibig sabihin yung resultant ay automatically equivalent to 0. Nai-encounter lang natin ito, nagiging 0 lamang ang resultant kapag under equilibrium condition, or in layman's term, the object is at rest. Okay, the object under investigation is at rest. Okay, so in this case, hindi siya nagsara kasi we applied force polygon method. We just connect, okay, the tip of F1 to the tail of F2, and then we connect the tail of F3 to the tip of F2. So what the resulting diagram became like this. Hindi siya nagsara, hindi siya naging polygon. So we have to expect that the resultant is not equal to 0 kasi the resulting polygon did not actually close. Now, the reason why that is so is because the connecting force to make this a closed polygon is the resultant force. Okay, yan yung magsasara para magkaroon tayo ng closed polygon. Okay, so the resulting polygon again is equadrilateral, but the closing force is actually the resultant force. So this is the graphical presentation of the resultant force. So the next thing that you would probably ask is, sir, how to compute this time, no, the resultant if we have already encountered more than one force and then some of these forces are inclined already. So ganito yung gagawin nyo. What you need to do is to split each force into its x and then y component. Bawat isa, i-split natin into their respective x and then y component. Now, so ang gagawin lang natin dito is to use this concept. Okay, that is why I taught you first how to split an inclined force into its respective x and then y component regardless kung ano yung description ng direction. Okay, so once you perfect that process, madali mo na lang mai-split, no, yung components ng F1, F2, F3 into the respective x and then y component. So tanggalin na muna natin yung resultant tapos i-display natin yung x and then yung y component ng F1, F2 and then F3. So magiging ganito. Okay, now another important note here is that if the force is purely horizontal, like F1, if it is purely horizontal, it definitely wala na siyang vertical component. Okay, wala na siyang vertical component because this is also equivalent to its x component. It is purely horizontal eh. No, this is most of the misconcepted idea, no, that I ang tawag dito noticed from you guys, no. Kapag purely horizontal lang force, wala na siyang y component. Ibig sabihin, yung x component ng purely horizontal ay equal lang din doon sa mismong magnitude ng horizontal force. Ganon din kapag vertical. Okay? So halimbawa, F1 is also equivalent to its x component. Okay? Kasi horizontal siya eh. So, ibig sabihin, yun din yung value ng x component niya. And then, yung corresponding y component niya ay 0. Okay? Kasi nga, purely horizontal siya. And then, if you encountered a force that is purely vertical naman, so ibig sabihin, yung magnitude ng vertical force is also equivalent to its y component. And then, this time, yung x component niya is equivalent to 0. Okay, take note of that kasi most of you are really really confused about that concept. So that is just a reminder. So in this case, so F1, since it is horizontal, so meaning to say its x component is also equivalent to its magnitude. Okay, so going back to the process in computing the resultant. Okay, so if you can still remember offset method, so let's apply that here. Okay, so yung horizontal ito, let us try to adjust muna the horizontal component of F3. Ang gawin natin, i-offset natin siya, tapos lagay natin siya, idugtong natin siya doon sa tip ng x component ng F2 dito. Idugtong natin siya. So remember that every time we are applying offset method, hindi natin nako-compromise yung magnitude ng value. Okay, it remains the same. Okay? Hindi natin siya nako-compromise. So ibig sabihin, yung magnitude ng x component ng F3, no, nung nandun pa siya sa tail ng inclined F3, yun din yung value niya once we already offset it, no, and connect it to the tip of the x component of F2. Now next is let us adjust the location of the y component of F2 by using offset ulit, and then this time let us connect its tail to the tip of the x component of F3. Okay? Tapos, let us also offset this, the y component of F3. So, let us connect the tail of this force to the tip of the y component of F2. So, magiging ganito. Now, remember that the components of F2 is also equal to the effect of the inclined force F2. Ulitin ko ha, nung in-split natin yung bawat inclined force, yung effect nito, yung magnitude nitong F2 ay equal lang doon sa total effect nung pinagsamang F2, F2x and then F2y. Ganon din yung F3. Okay, so yung effect nito, yung net effect nito ay equal lang din sa pinagsamang F3x and then F3y. Okay, ibig sabihin kapag mayroon na tayong components kahit hindi na natin isama yung inclined force. Okay, so ibig sabihin, balik tayo doon sa in-applyan natin ng offset. Kahit tanggalin na natin yung inclined F2 at saka F3. Okay, tapos ibalik natin ngayon yung resultant force. Ibalik natin kasi this is the main objective eh. Okay, now kung napansin nyo, what we actually created is a right triangle. Okay, so once we are always encountering a right triangle, so meaning to say, these are always the theorem and then the approaches that we can apply. Okay, we can use the trigonometric functions, the sine, the cosine, the tangent, the cotangent, the secant, the cosecant, and then we can also use Pythagorean theorem. So you have to also understand that these approaches are exclusively applied if the type of triangle involved is a right triangle. And when we say right triangle, one of its interior angle is equivalent to 90 degrees. Okay, so since we have a right triangle, so by using, we can get the resultant force by simply using Pythagorean theorem kasi the resultant force is also the hypotenuse side of the right triangle. So kunin lang natin yung summation ng horizontal side niya. So that is F1, F2x, F3x. So take note that F1 is also equivalent to its x component. Okay? So, instead of their actual values, lagyan na lang natin ng vector summation. Now, the reason why yung sigma, this is capital sigma, okay, vector summation, that is going to be the Greek symbol to represent the idea na vector sum, vector summation. So the reason why we call it vector summation instead of summation kasi nga yung direction nila we need to also consider. Okay, so basically if the direction of the horizontal force is leftward, it is assigned as negative. Whereas if its direction is rightward, we assign it as positive. So capital sigma Fx, meaning to say vector summation of the horizontal forces. And then yung vertical side, dahil meron tayong dalawa, so kunin na lang din natin yung summation nila. Okay? So ganun din, yung summation ng dalawa will be represented by this symbol. So vector summation naman of the vertical forces. Pero kung napansin nyo, yung vector summation no, ng horizontal forces ay equal lang din doon sa x component ng resultant. Kasi kung napansin nyo, yung total forces dito ay x component lang din ng resultant. And then, yung vector summation ng vertical forces ay equal lang din doon sa y component ng resultant force. So, that is also denoted by ry. So, rx is denoting the x component of the resultant force, and then ry is denoting the vertical component of the resultant force. So meaning to say, once we already use Pythagorean theorem in computing the hypotenuse side of the triangle, this is going to be the resulting equation. Okay, and then remember that Rx is also computed by getting the vector summation of horizontal, and then Ry is also computed by getting the vector summation of the vertical forces. Now, aside from computing kasi the resultant force, it is always customary to also compute its angular direction, angular direction. So kapag babalikan natin yung previous slide natin, kapag sinabi nating angular direction in terms of angle, yun nga lang kasi dalawa yung pwedeng panggalingan ng angular direction ng inclined force. Pwedeng sukatin siya mula sa x-axis or pwede naman siyang sukatin mula sa y-axis. Okay? So, kayo nang bahala no kung saan manggagaling yung angular distance no, as long as you are understanding the concept, hindi magkakaroon ng problema. Pero you have to also check kung ano yung in-specify ng problem, kasi baka mamaya kung gusto niya kunin yung angular distance measured from the x-axis or measured from the horizontal axis, or pwede rin namang measured from the vertical axis or y-axis. So kapag horizontal axis, so definitely ito yan. Pero kapag vertical axis, so definitely ito. Okay, dito. Okay, so para makuha natin yung phi, this is a Greek symbol phi. Greek symbol phi. So to compute it, no, since this is still a right triangle, ibig sabihin yung trigonometric functions kahit alin doon pwede mong gamitin. Pero usually kasi kapag kinukuha natin yung angular direction, palaging ang ginagamit natin yung y component ng resultant at saka yung x component niya. So ibig sabihin kapag yung y component ng resultant yung opposite side ng angle phi at yung Rx naman ay adjacent doon sa angle phi. So the strategic trigo function that we can actually use is tangent function. So by using tangent phi, it is equal to the opposite side over the hypotenuse side. So we will be having this equation no, in computing the angular direction of the resultant measured from the horizontal axis. Now, paano naman kapag ayaw mong gamitin yung components, ayaw mong gamitin yung pinagsamang ry at saka yung rx, pwede din as long as you have the value of the hypotenuse side. So kung gusto mong kunin yung relationship ng opposite at saka ng hypotenuse, edi gamit ka ng sine function. So sin phi is equal to ry over r. So, pwede ka rin namang gumamit ng cosine. Ibig sabihin yung gusto mong pagsamahin yung adjacent side ng triangle at saka yung hypotenuse. O pwede ka rin namang gumamit ng cosecant at saka ng secant, as long as you understand how to use or how to analyze a right triangle. Imagination mo lang talaga ang limit So kahit alin talaga dito, pwede mong gamitin. In fact, kahit ito, pwede mo ring gamitin. Yun nga lang kasi yung Pythagorean theorem, ginagamit mo lang yan or ginagamit lang natin yan kapag lahat ng sides ang gusto nating makuha. Okay? So that's the flow, no? In computing the resultant force if we have already encountered multiple inclined forces. Okay?